Episode 70, The Great AI Divide. Who's all in and who's opting out?
The AI 6 Podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
Is your team fired up about AI or running for the hills? We talk about the polarisation in radio, the early adopters versus the weary watchers. This episode is all about mindset, training and making sure no one gets left behind. This audio was from the AI panel, which I was part of at Radio Days Ireland, the conference in 2025. You'll hear from James Cridland of Podnews, Glenn Mulcahy from Titanium Media, and myself. And don't forget to tune in for the next part of this special series tomorrow.
How important is education when it comes to embracing this technology in our industry?
Well, if you think about radio from piracy to now in the AI age, prompt engineering, it's been agile and responsive and you're very open-minded. And this is something that you must grab with both microphones. But collectively, we're all starting at ground zero when it comes to AI literacy, which is a good thing. So we all have to do our ABCs of AI and really understand the terminology and the application. And around the world, all governments now have AI strategies, and we have the EU AI Act. And they say the gold standard for all economies and industries and all facets of society, because it's very important that we have inclusivity in AI, is education. Microsoft and Trinity College Dublin released a report last week on Gen AI use in Ireland, and actually reflective of the show of hands in the audience, 48% of organisations in Ireland right now are using AI. A McKinsey report or a Deloitte report then stated that from 45 years and above, there's a sharp decline and a tail off. So we really need to embed education in this AI revolution. And I guess that's where, Teresa and Learning Waves come in.
Have we seen a lot of enhancements on sort of the basic fundamental apps that you would have been endorsing a number of years ago with the implementation of AI? Or is there a new suite that's kind of come to the fore now?
It's a really interesting question. I think I would say that I'm seeing polarisation, and in a much, much more aggressive fashion than I expected. So some of the brands who develop apps in the marketplace have taken a staunch anti-AI position and saying we want to encourage human creativity. We don't want to just make it automated and standardized. And then there are others like the likes of CapCut for video editing, who you can quite literally go to ChatGPT, add the ChatGPT plugin for CapCut and tell it to make a video with a topic. And it will generate images, it will generate video, it will put text on and spit a piece out. So it really is, it's like that. And I think that echoes actually part, I think, what I'm sensing from the audience as well. So can I just ask the audience a question? For those of you who put your hands up to say you use AI tools, how many of you are incredibly excited about the potential of where AI may go over the next 5 years? Show of hands. Quite a few. Okay, now the flip side. How many of you are petrified? Okay, that was less than I expected. Okay, fine. The reason I asked that is that, to go back to your point about the amount of press releases and everything you get, trying to keep up with the pace of development is the greatest challenge. And this is true of all the developers I know, and myself as well as a trainer. What we see on the day-to-day applications that you may all be using is just the tip of the iceberg of where the real development work is going. And it's the longer-term stuff that is making me very nervous.
Yeah. But I suppose just to try and stay optimistic about it for like a millisecond longer. Please. I'm trying. No, but one of the areas, I was out with Microsoft a few weeks back and they did their AI tour and they were talking through the agentic AI and how their sales team, for example, they're now spending 40% more time on the road meeting clients rather than doing the admin side of things. And I suppose there's a real opportunity there to embrace some of the fundamental time savers with this technology. So whether that is cutting down on admin, whether it's contributor sheets, the day-to-day stuff that a lot of us would kind of roll our eyes to the skies when we do a rundown of what we're spending our time on. But Joanne, I had conversations there over the coffee break, and some people were saying that it's difficult to know where to turn to get unbiased, clear, easy to digest AI for dummies, essentially.
Yeah, and one thing you got to consider in all of this is, where does the human voice sit in with the AI generated voice? But the other side of that for radio is we are living through the productivity frontier. Everybody in radio triple jobs. And every time that you're asked to innovate, the response, the pushback that you get is, but we don't have time. This is the huge opportunity that exists.
The AI6 Podcast with Joanne Sweeney.